Enemy pursuit. Right, so everyone knows that the arch nemesis of a capsule is a cylinder. So we're going to be adding a cylinder into our game in a moment to make it chase our enemy. Now at this stage, we've got our player, which can move and jump and so on. We've got these coins, which you can collect. They disappear when we hit them. And our points kind of go up by 250 every time. And we've also got this terrain to run around. So let's just go back into that position I was just in. And like I said, we're going to add in a 3D object, and this time it's going to be a cylinder. Now the cylinder gets kind of chucked up where the player currently is, but I'm just going to move it so it is a bit further away. I'm going to drag it down to that position there. Now I don't want it to go through the ground. Now, as you might have guessed, I haven't got like a mouse to do this. I'm using my mouse pad, and it's really hard to rotate things around like this. So, but anyway, the cylinder. I want to give it a name so I can identify what it is, enemy, and there it is over on the left hand side. And at the moment, we've got a capsule collider and these mesh renders and stuff which have been added to it. I want to add, or I'm going to need to add, in order for our code to work, a rigid body to it. So if I double click on rigid body, this then appears, and there is this thing here about constraints, which we're going to come back to and look at a little bit later. But anyway, at this point, I'm going to add another component, and this time I'm going to add a behavior, which is basically a new script. I don't know why I said behavior, it's not that at all. And there's our enemy script here. So it's just simply a couple of lines of code, just a default thing set up. So once Unity is finished kind of recognizing it's a bit of code, sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't, but there's our code there. So I'm going to double click on it to get it open up in Visual Studio, and there it is. I don't actually need those top two lines there, so I'm just going to remove them because just make it a bit more efficient. And all I'm going to do is copy these lines of code and paste them in place of these lines of code here. Now, what this basically does, if I just scroll back to the top, it identifies what the player is. It will identify what our enemy is because we've just added that rigid body to it. This is the movement, so basically that will kind of define in which direction the enemy will move in order to chase us, and that's the speed it will move at as well. So when we first start up, it kind of registers that the enemy's got a rigid body, and then the update bit and this fixed update bit means that it basically chases after us then, and that's the speed it moves at and the time it takes to get to us as well. So I'm just going to press Control S and head back onto Unity. Hopefully this won't take us too long. Now, before we actually press play to see if that script's worked, we do need to drag and drop a couple of things. It won't take us very long. I think it's only one thing, in fact. So if I click on our enemy, and it will have these bits and pieces here, look for enemy pursuit, and we just need to drag across the player to say, this is what you're chasing. And then there's the speed as well. So if I press play in a moment and it moves really slowly, I can adjust that during gameplay and at this point to make it a bit more challenging in terms of it chasing us. So I press play, it will change into game view. So I don't even know if we're going to be facing it actually. Let me turn. Where is he? There he is. So there he comes. He's chasing after me. And I'm just going to turn to face away from him. And you can see no matter which direction I go in, it will chase after me. Now, obviously, it doesn't look quite right in this kind of sense because it was supposed to be standing up. So if I just press escape once so I can get to the point of pressing play there, and back on our enemy where I said about the rigid body, so rigid body and the constraints here. Now if we lock X, Y, and Z, that basically means now that when we press play and it comes chasing after us, it will always be upright, no matter what it bumps into or what type of angle it might be going down the side of one of our mountains, then it will be stood up. There he is. And it will kind of look like it's chasing us around. Well, it is chasing us around, but stood up at the same time. Now, one of the issues at this point is obviously that here he comes. For some reason, he runs away from me. I don't know why he was doing that. I think he's bouncing off me because I might need to change the settings for the mask and stuff over there. But nothing's actually happening. He's hitting into me. I can still run off and I can still collect these coins and get score going up. But really, what we want to happen is every time he bumps into me, it takes a life. Now, that's going to be one of the next videos, so stay tuned and all that type of stuff.